So the main duties and tasks associated with my role as data infrastructure lead is kind of a combination of things. And so that's focused on kind of meeting with stakeholders, understanding what systems they're pulling information from, how they're using that information to answer questions that affect sort of the day-to-day operations of DGS, what sort of pain points or challenges they might have with that data, and are there ways that we can either automate it or simplify it or better document it to make sure that we can address those pain points and make it easier to make decisions with that information. How we use important resources like our vehicles or buildings within the city to actually have a real impact on the lives of the citizens of Baltimore. It helps to have insight into, what's the cost of managing a particular building, or where are vehicle maintenance requests kind of distributed within the city. It's helping make sure that the people who are making those decisions have access to real-time information, real-time insights as quickly as possible. The work that I do specifically in data governance helps bring together lots of different data sources that answers questions that previously weren't able to be answered or too difficult to answer. A lot of the work that we focus on is kind of stitching together all those different data sources to answer questions that really are critical to driving a lot of those core decisions within the agency. What the users need and what will help them get to where they want to be, and then build the systems and the infrastructure to actually make that possible. I would say some of the biggest challenges within data governance, specifically within DGS, is that the work that each division does is really specific. And so the pain points and the systems and the types of data that they use to solve those specific problems might feel really disconnected and disjointed. To kind of summarize, sort of the first big challenge is actually building that trust with folks in each individual department. The second big challenge is trying to understand where are there common points, both for improving the workflow around data and for addressing the pain points around data. And then that third piece is actually, doing the work of building those standards, those procedures, and those tools that actually help address those pain points and seize those opportunities. One of the primary things that actually drew me to working for BPIO and for DGS in general was just hearing about all the amazing work that the Department of General Services has done, especially in the innovative space of using technology, using programming, scripts, etc., to actually automate work and to make it easier for folks who are sort of on the front lines to actually work on identifying those workflows that have either space to be improved or that have pain points that need to be addressed, and thinking really creatively about how to make that process more efficient and more effective. To me, was really amazing and something that I didn't realize was happening in a government space. I realized wow, actually city government is full of really innovative, passionate individuals who are trying to make work easier. The way that my past work has sort of prepared me for work within DGS and within the Business Process Improvement Office is that it came from a smaller nonprofit called Baltimore Core. A big sort of focus of what Baltimore Core was focusing on was figuring out, okay, what are ways that we can actually streamline and improve upon the hiring process for connecting individuals who are interested in going into work in social impact, and that could be either nonprofit space, government agencies, social enterprise. How can we make that pipeline for recruiting, screening, and placing talent more efficient and more equitable? And so a big part of that actually involved thinking about, and really intentionally, what information do we need to collect from both potential employers and prospective fellows? It sort of combined the sort of stakeholder engagement to understand, well, when you're applying for a job, what do you think best represents you? And sort of building that trust that we mentioned is really critical to the work of data governance. I would say that the largest portion of my body of work that I'm engaged in is this initiative that we've touched on a few times, which is the Data Governance Initiative. Just to kind of summarize that in general, the focus of that initiative is to identify, inventory, and hopefully eventually build a centralized storage location for data from all the different core systems that DGS uses to manage its assets. What's really exciting about that work is actually getting a chance to talk to members and individuals both on the business and on the technical side in each of these major divisions and business units within DGS, and really understand what are your goals for using data within the agency, and then to sort of work to establish what are some good standards and protocols to actually manage that data, and how can we sort of move to a place where not only that data is more accessible across divisions within the agency, but potentially across government as a whole. So other agencies might want to sort of use the data that we are engaging with on a regular basis, and eventually potentially even thinking about what does that look like to make a subset of that information available to the public as well. Actually, city government is a place of an incredible amount of innovation, and that the folks that are doing this work here are really passionate about the work that they're doing, and they really want to have a big impact on people's lives in the city. What I've discovered through a lot of these projects is that independent of the particular function that you're interested in and the particular challenge or opportunity you're trying to work on, city government is just a really cool place to do that, and they're just good folks all over. I'm really excited and feel really hopeful about the work that city government is doing, not just in a technology standpoint, but really in every facet and function that we operate in.